My grandfather told me when I was young, some people as they get older, they just stop doing creative things, but keep doing creative things, and I just took that to heart, and I've always tried to do that.
And what we're getting at here, remember, if we're cartooning and we're drawing comics, we're drawing things that have a story to them, that have a before and an after, or a beginning, middle, end, or some kind of structure.
Yeah, I remember sitting with my dad and drawing, and then in high school, I didn't draw that much because I didn't have models of people drawing. So that's partly why I do these classes, so that people see an adult who draws and tells stories.
So I call these storytelling elements, 4 storytelling elements that I like to use. And the way I remember it is they each start with a different letter. And the first one I think I've mentioned already. What's this? Face. A face. It's amazing to me that no matter what I find myself, here. Oh no, I'll catch you up in a moment. Welcome. It's amazing to me that no matter what shape I find myself with, if I add a couple details, it comes alive for the reader. Our brains are actually built to look for faces.
A single workshop like this, I really focus on where our ideas come from, and for everybody that's different, and how we play out those ideas, and again that's different for everybody. And then a really important step is how you prepare your idea for somebody else to understand it.
Any shape I'm ever stuck on, no matter how zany that shape is, once I put a face on it, it starts to take shape, or a couple faces sometimes.
You could have the greatest story in the world, but if people can't read your writing or tell what the pictures are, they're not going to get it. So the communication aspect of it.
This is the hardest one for me to draw. Sometimes I draw it like that. Starts with an A. Yeah.
Activity.
Ooh, you're so close.
Action.
Yeah. Action was the word I was going for.
Lately, the past several years, I've really focused on, I started off focusing on family stories and local history by traveling. And I spent time in Eastern Europe working on the Slovakia graphic novel. And then when I came back to New England, I realized there was a lot I didn't know about this region. And I've grown up in New Hampshire and lived in New England all my life. So I started digging into sort of I think of it as like the forgotten history or the stories that people don't know about small town New England where I live. And come to find out it connects to the rest of the world. As long as you pay attention to these stories, you end up connecting to bigger stories.
Oh, okay. Here's the test of action. This is advanced cartooning here. What is this?
A bug?
Oh, good.
That's a
Good guess.
Fly.
Right? I'm trying to draw a fly, cartoon style. All right. So if you say a bug, is that an action?
Ooh, me.
No. A bug, I could bug somebody. That could be an action. But if you see a bug, that's a thing. What if I change that drawing just slightly?
Oh, I know.
Now what is it a picture of?
A bee. He's flying.
Bug flying, right? So now there's an action there. That's the test of action.
I mean, we had people from 5 years old to, I don't know, in our 30s here drawing. And the fact that everybody can sit next to each other and draw and do something creative and new that's never been done before is exciting to me. As a seasoned pro, you know, I come in and I learn from every artist in here. Yeah.
All right, now, what if my reader still didn't see the fly flying, so I added this next piece? What does this do for you?
Bug.
Makes it buzz for you, right? It's a sound effect. So the next storytelling element that I like to add in here, usually I draw like this. What's the word I'm getting at? Text. Thanks. And text is actually a powerful storytelling element in your picture. I mean, you can keep it separate from your picture. You can have an illustrated book with the writing on the page on one side and the picture on another, right? But what we have here in our comics is an invitation to work our words into the picture, and it tricks the brain in some way. It gets people reading your picture. Working in schools and doing workshops for schools is pretty seasonal because schools tend to want to do winter and spring. And in the fall, they're doing their own thing. So I have time off to work on my comics. And it's kind of a nice
And in the summer, I work in libraries mostly. But it's a nice symbiosis because to come into the classroom and teach comics, I have to be working on comics. And I have to have a new project I can bring in. And it's just interesting how those new projects tend to be just the right project for where I am, you know, and like I just did a residency in a couple schools in Maryland this past month, and the book that I'm finishing up that's coming out next month takes place like within miles of those schools, just kind of by coincidence, but also because if you really pay attention to work like this, you end up, it becomes more and more like indistinguishable, the work from your life.
Oh wait, there's one more storytelling element that we can add in here. Starts with an S, and I often draw it this way. And then somebody often will say,
Setting.
oh, good, we'll go right to setting. That's a great word. That is a powerful word. I can use that as a cartoonist very judiciously.
So yeah, I'm always learning in the classroom, and then when I'm outside the classroom, I'm always learning as I draw my comics. If I'm not challenging myself enough.